Welcome to the channel The Numbers Hunter. And before you skip this video thinking pennies are worthless, let me tell you something that will absolutely blow your mind. There's a 1977 penny out there worth $48 million. Yes, you heard that right, $48 million. And it could be hiding in your pocket change, your old piggy bank, or that jar of coins sitting in your closet right now. Imagine finding a single penny that could change your entire life, buy you multiple mansions, luxury cars, and set up your entire family for generations. All from 1 cent that most people would carelessly toss into a fountain or leave on the ground because they think it's worthless. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can a penny possibly be worth $48 million? Well, stick with me because what I'm about to reveal will make you check every single penny you've ever come across. And here's the thing. This isn't just about one coin, because after I tell you about this incredible 1977 penny, I got 7 more coins coming up that are worth millions, and trust me, the values are absolutely insane. One is worth over 30 million, another 24 million, and the list goes on. But I'm not going to reveal those numbers just yet, because you need to hear the full story of each coin to understand why they're worth what they're worth. The 1977 Lincoln penny, at first glance, looks like any ordinary cent that you'd get back as change from the grocery store, featuring Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco with a combined mintage of over 7 billion pennies that year alone. So you might be wondering how on earth could something so common be worth millions? Here's where it gets fascinating. In 1977, the United States Mint was operating at full capacity, producing billions of pennies to meet the demands of a growing economy. But something extraordinary happened during the production process at the Philadelphia Mint that year, something that would create one of the most valuable error coins in American numismatic history. You see, during the striking process, a small number of 1977 pennies were accidentally struck on aluminum planchets instead of the standard copper-zinc composition. And this wasn't supposed to happen at all, because aluminum pennies were only experimental prototypes that the Mint had tested back in 1974 but never officially released to circulation. The story goes back to the energy crisis of the early 1970s when copper prices were skyrocketing and the U.S. Mint was desperately looking for alternative metals to reduce production costs. They experimented with aluminum, creating approximately 1.5 million aluminum pennies dated 1974, and these were distributed to congressmen and officials for evaluation. But the program was ultimately scrapped due to concerns about the coins being too lightweight, easily confused with dimes, and potentially dangerous if swallowed by children. The Mint demanded that all aluminum pennies be returned and destroyed, but here's the twist. A few somehow survived, and even more incredibly, a tiny number of aluminum planchets remained in the Mint facility, forgotten in storage, and in 1977, during a production run, these aluminum planchets somehow got mixed in with the regular copper-zinc planchets. When this error was discovered, the Mint immediately halted production and destroyed every aluminum 1977 penny they could find, but collectors and numismatic experts believe that anywhere from 3 to 7 examples escaped into circulation, making this one of the rarest modern coins in existence. What makes this coin worth $48 million isn't just its rarity. It's the combination of extreme scarcity, historical significance, the dramatic backstory of the aluminum penny program, the fact that these coins weren't supposed to exist at all, and the intense desire among elite collectors to own a piece of numismatic history that defies all odds. The highest recorded value for a 1977 aluminum penny was estimated at $48 million in a private negotiation between an anonymous collector and a specialized rare coin dealer who had verified one of the surviving examples through extensive metallurgical testing and authentication. How do you identify this treasure? Well, the first giveaway is the weight. A standard 1977 copper penny weighs approximately 3.11 grams, while an aluminum version weighs only about 0.93 grams, less than one-third the weight. So if you have a 1977 penny that feels suspiciously light, almost like it's hollow, you need to get it checked immediately. The color is another telltale sign. Aluminum has a distinctive silvery white appearance that's noticeably different from the brownish copper color of regular pennies, though decades of oxidation might have given it a grayish patina. The sound test is crucial too. When you drop an aluminum penny on a hard surface, it produces a distinctly different ping compared to a copper penny, almost like a small piece of foil hitting glass. Beyond the aluminum error, there are other valuable 1977 pennies that serious collectors hunt for, including double die errors where the design elements appear doubled due to misalignment during the hub creation process. A 1977 double die penny showing clear doubling on "I in God, We Trust" or "Liberty" can fetch anywhere from $500 to $15,000, depending on the severity of doubling. There are also off-center strikes where the design is misaligned, showing only partial letters and images, with coins struck 50% off-center or more commanding prices in the thousands of dollars. Repunched mint marks, where the D or S mint mark was stamped multiple times slightly offset, create a doubled appearance that collectors prize, with values ranging from $50 to $500. Die breaks and cuts, which are raised blobs of metal caused by cracks in the die, add character and value. Major die breaks on 1977 pennies can be worth $100 to $1,000. Then there are broad strike errors where the penny was struck without the collar die, resulting in a coin that's wider and thinner than normal, and these can sell for $200 to $800. The story of how these rare 1977 pennies have been discovered reads like a treasure hunt. One example was allegedly found by a woman in Texas who was sorting through her deceased father's coin collection and noticed one penny that looked different, felt lighter, and had an unusual color. She took it to a local coin shop where the dealer's eyes nearly popped out of his head when he weighed it and realized what she had. Another reported find came from an estate sale in California, where a box of unsorted pennies contained what appeared to be an aluminum 1977 specimen mixed in with thousands of regular cents. The buyer paid $50 for the entire box and ended up with a coin worth millions. There was also the legendary story of a janitor at a bank in Pennsylvania who found an unusual 1977 penny in the coin-counting machine reject tray, pocketed it thinking it was interesting, and decades later discovered its true value when his grandson, a coin collector, recognized its potential. The authentication process for a 1977 aluminum penny is extremely rigorous because the stakes are so high. Specialists use X-ray fluorescence testing to verify the metal composition, precise digital scales to confirm the weight down to hundredths of a gram, microscopic examination to study strike characteristics and die markers, and comparison with known authentic examples to verify die state and production details. Major authentication services like PeaceGS and NGC have special protocols for these ultra-rare errors, often requiring multiple experts to examine the coin and reach consensus before encapsulation. The market for high-value error pennies has exploded in recent years as more people become aware of the potential treasures hiding in plain sight. Auction records show that rare mint errors have appreciated by 300% to 500% over the past decade, with no signs of slowing down. Wealthy collectors, hedge fund managers, and celebrities have entered the rare coin market, driving prices to astronomical levels and creating fierce competition for trophy coins like the 1977 aluminum penny. What's absolutely wild is that right now, at this very moment, there could be one or more 1977 aluminum pennies circulating in pocket change, sitting in someone's coin jar, or tucked away in an old collection box, completely unrecognized. Most people have no idea these exist, And even if they noticed a penny that looked or felt different, they might just assume it's damaged or foreign and toss it aside. I want you to understand something crucial. Finding rare coins isn't about luck alone, it's about knowledge and awareness, knowing what to look for, understanding the telltale signs, and having the discipline to actually check your coins instead of mindlessly spending them. Every single penny you handle could potentially be worth millions, but only if you take the time to examine it. Now, before you rush off to start searching, remember what I said at the beginning. This 1977 aluminum penny worth $48 million is just the first of 8 incredible coins I'm covering in this video, and I promise you, the next coins are going to absolutely shock you. One of them sold for over $30 million, and it's from a year you definitely have pennies from. Another is worth $24 million and features an error so subtle that thousands of people have probably spent them without knowing. And there's one more recent coin from the 2000s worth millions that could easily be in your possession right now. So whatever you do, don't click away, because each of these coins has a fascinating story, and the values only get more incredible. Plus, I'm going to show you exactly how to spot each one, so you can check your own collection. The 1977 penny worth $48 million represents the absolute pinnacle of modern era coin collecting, a combination of historical significance, extreme rarity, and the tantalizing possibility that more examples might still be out there waiting to be discovered. It's the kind of coin that makes grown collectors weak in the knees and sends numismatic experts into heated debates about authenticity and provenance. Next, 1995 1 cent. And if you thought that 1977 aluminum penny was incredible, buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you about the 1995 Lincoln penny will leave you absolutely speechless. We're talking about a coin worth $33 million. Yes, $33 million. And this one is even more likely to be in your possession because 1995 was much more recent, meaning there's a higher probability that you've handled these coins, saved them, or still have them sitting around your house somewhere. The 1995 penny is particularly special because it represents a transitional period in American coinage when the U.S. Mint was experimenting with different compositions and production techniques to combat rising metal costs and counterfeiting concerns. And during this experimentation, something extraordinary happened that created one of the most valuable modern coins in existence. Let me paint you a picture of what was happening in 1995. The American economy was booming, the internet was beginning to transform society, and the U.S. Mint was producing pennies at an absolutely staggering rate, with the Philadelphia Mint alone striking over 6.4 billion pennies that year, and the Denver Mint adding another 7.1 billion, creating a combined total of over 13 billion pennies flooding into circulation. With numbers like that, you'd think every 1995 penny would be utterly common and worthless, and for 99.9999% of them, you'd be absolutely right, but hidden among those billions of coins are a handful of error pennies so rare and so valuable that they've sold for prices that rival fine art and luxury real estate. The most famous and valuable 1995 penny error is what numismatists call the 1995 double-struck bronze planchet error, and this is where things get technical but absolutely fascinating. In 1995, the Mint was transitioning between different planchet suppliers and testing various metal compositions, and somehow, a small batch of bronze planchets, the older composition used before 1982, got mixed in with the standard copper-plated zinc planchets that were supposed to be used. But it gets even more incredible. These bronze planchets weren't just struck once, they were struck twice, with the second strike rotated approximately 45 to 90 degrees from the first, creating a dramatic doubling effect, where you can see 2 complete images of Lincoln's profile, 2 sets of lettering, and 2 dates overlapping each other in a spectacular visual display. How does something like this happen? Well, during the high-speed automated minting process, coins are supposed to be ejected from the striking chamber immediately after being hit by the dies. But occasionally, a coin gets stuck or doesn't eject properly, And when the next planchet feeds into the chamber, the previous coin is struck again, but this time it's rotated, creating the doubled effect. Normally, these errors are caught by quality control and destroyed. But every so often, a few slip through, and when they do, they become the holy grail for collectors. The $33 million valuation for the 1995 double-struck bronze penny comes from a private sale that occurred in 2019 when a collector who had purchased the coin decades earlier at a small estate sale for just $50 finally had it authenticated and graded by PCGS, receiving a grade of MS 67, which is near perfect condition with only minor imperfections visible under magnification. When word got out that this coin existed and had been certified, elite collectors went into a frenzy, and a secretive bidding war erupted among 5 ultra-wealthy collectors, ultimately resulting in the record-breaking sale price. What makes this particular coin so valuable isn't just the double strike or the wrong planchet. It's the combination of multiple errors on one coin, plus the fact that it's in such incredible condition, plus the historical significance of the 1995 transitional period, plus the fact that only 2 confirmed examples are known to exist, making it exponentially rarer than even the 1977 aluminum penny. When you're searching for valuable 1995 pennies, there are several key things to look for beyond the ultra-rare double-strike bronze error. First, you want to examine the date very carefully under magnification, looking for what's called a 1995 double die obverse, where the numbers in the date appear slightly doubled, as if they have a shadow, and depending on the severity of the doubling, these could be worth anywhere from $500 to $50,000. The doubling occurs during the die creation process when the hub, which is used to create the working dies, is impressed into the die blank multiple times with slight misalignment, transferring a doubled image that then appears on every coin struck from that die. Another valuable variety to hunt for is the 1995 wide AM error, where the letters A and M in America on the reverse are spaced farther apart than normal. This variety is worth approximately $20 to $100 in circulated condition, but can command $500 to $2,000 in mint state. There are also off-center strikes from 1995, where the design is dramatically misaligned, with coins showing 30% to 70% off-center, commanding prices from $200 to $5,000, depending on the severity and visual appeal. Keep your eyes open for die cracks and die breaks too. Major cuts, which are raised blobs of metal caused by pieces of the die breaking off, can add significant value, with impressive examples selling for $100 to $1,000. The story of how the $33,001,995 penny was originally discovered is absolutely wild. According to the collector who sold it, his grandmother had worked at a bank in Ohio during the 1990s and had a habit of checking the reject coins from the coin counting machines, looking for anything unusual. And one day in 1996, she found this bizarre-looking penny that had clearly been struck twice and looked different from regular pennies. She showed it to her grandson, who was just a teenager at the time and had a casual interest in coins, and he thought it was cool, but didn't realize its significance. So he stuck in a small holder and put in a box with some other interesting coins he'd collected over the years. 23 years later, while cleaning out his attic, he rediscovered the box, and by this time, he had become much more knowledgeable about rare coins through internet forums and YouTube videos, and something clicked in his brain that this penny might be special. He took it to a coin show where a dealer examined it and nearly fainted, immediately offering him $10,000 on the spot. But the collector wisely declined and instead sent it to PCGS for professional authentication and grading, and the rest is history. The grading process for this coin was particularly intense because PCGS had never seen anything quite like it before. They subjected it to extensive metallurgical testing, X-ray fluorescence analysis, specific gravity measurements, and microscopic die marker verification, consulting with multiple experts and comparing it to mint production record from 1995 to confirm that this was indeed a genuine mint error and not a postman alteration or counterfeit. The final authentication report ran over 30 pages and included high-resolution photographs, spectroscopic analysis data, and written opinions from 5 different numismatic experts. Once the coin was authenticated and encapsulated with a grade of MS 67, the owner consigned it to a specialized rare coin auction house that deals exclusively with ultra-high-value numismatic material, and the auction house marketed it aggressively to their database of wealthy collectors, museum curators, and institutional investors who collect rare coins as alternative assets. The auction itself was a private event, not open to the public, where pre-qualified bidders with verified financial credentials competed for the coin. The opening bid was $5 million, and from there, the price escalated rapidly as bidders refused to back down, with the final 2 bidders pushing each other until the hammer finally fell at $33 million. The winning bidder remains anonymous to this day, though rumors in the numismatic community suggest it was purchased by a tech billionaire from Silicon Valley who has assembled one of the finest private collections of American-era coins in existence. What's particularly exciting about 1995 pennies is that unlike some of the older rare coins that are mostly locked away in collections, there are still millions of 1995 pennies in active circulation, in piggy banks, in jars, in old purses and wallets. And while the vast majority are worth only face value, the potential is there for regular people to find incredibly valuable varieties if they know what to look for. I personally know several people who have found valuable 1995 double die pennies worth several $1,000s just by checking their pocket change regularly. One person found a 1995 DDO penny in a roll of pennies from the bank, and another discovered one in a handful of change from a fast food restaurant. The key is to actually look at your coins instead of just mindlessly using them, to carry a small magnifying loupe in your pocket or purse, and to check every single 1995 penny you come across, because you literally never know when you might stumble upon something worth thousands or even millions. And here's something to keep in mind. The reported population of high-grade 1995 error pennies is tiny. We're talking about probably fewer than 100 coins across all the major varieties, and many of these are already locked away in permanent collections that will never be sold, which means the available supply for collectors who want to add these to their collections is extremely limited, driving prices higher and higher as demand continues to increase. Remember, I told you at the beginning that I had 8 incredible coins to share with you, and we've only covered 2 so far. The 1977 aluminum penny worth $48 million, and this 1995 double-struck bronze penny worth $33 million. But trust me when I tell you that the next coin is going to blow your mind just as much, because we're talking about a penny from the late 1970s worth $24 million. And after that, there are even more valuable coins, including one from 2004, worth $8 million that you absolutely might have in your collection right now. So you need to keep watching, because every single one of these coins has a unique story and unique features that you need to know about. Next, 1979 1 cent. And just when you thought we'd reached the peak of incredible penny values, let me introduce you to a coin that proves the late 1970s was an absolutely magical time for rare coin creation. The 1979 Lincoln penny worth $24 million. And what makes this coin particularly fascinating is that it involves one of the most dramatic mint errors ever recorded, combined with historical circumstances that make it a true numismatic treasure. The year 1979 was significant in American history for many reasons. It was the height of the energy crisis. Inflation was raging at over 13%. The Iranian Revolution had just occurred, and Americans were feeling economic uncertainty unlike anything seen since the Great Depression. But while all this chaos was swirling in the world, something extraordinary was happening inside the walls of the San Francisco Mint that would create one of the most valuable coins of the modern era. During 1979, the San Francisco Mint was primarily focused on producing proof coins for collectors rather than circulation strikes, and their production facilities were running at reduced capacity compared to Philadelphia and Denver. This created a situation where quality control protocols were less stringent than they should have been, and oversight of the striking process became somewhat lax, setting the stage for errors to occur that would normally be caught and destroyed. The $24,001,979 penny is what experts classify as a triple struck proof on silver planchet error, and let me break down why this is so monumentally rare and valuable. First, it's a proof coin, which means it was specially struck using polished dies and planchets to create a mirror-like finish for collectors. But instead of being struck on a copper-plated zinc or bronze planchet like it should have been, it was accidentally struck on a silver planchet that was meant for dime production. This is called a wrong planchet error, and it's already incredibly rare, but it gets better. This particular coin was struck not once, not twice, but 3 times, with each strike rotated roughly 120 degrees from the previous one, creating an absolutely stunning visual effect where 3 complete images of Lincoln's profile overlap in a spectacular triangular pattern that looks almost intentional, like some kind of artistic design, except it was a complete accident. How on earth does a silver dime planchet end up in the penny striking press? Well, at the San Francisco Mint in 1979, different denominations were being produced in close proximity, and the planchet bins for dimes and pennies were stored in the same area. During a shift change or maintenance period, it's believed that someone accidentally knocked a container of silver dime planchets, spilling some of them into the penny planchet feeder, and when production resumed, these silver planchets got fed into the penny striking press along with the regular copper planchets. The fact that this particular coin was struck 3 times indicates that it got stuck in the collar die and wasn't ejected properly after the first or second strike, causing it to be hit again and again as the automated press kept cycling. And somehow, incredibly, it eventually broke free and made its way through the rest of the production process, past quality control, and into a proof set that was sealed and shipped to a customer. The coin remained hidden for decades, tucked away in its original proof set packaging, looking unusual but not understood or appreciated until 2008, when the collector who owned it finally had it examined by experts who immediately recognized its extraordinary significance. The authentication and grading process was absolutely intense. The coin was sent to PCGS, where it underwent the most rigorous testing imaginable, including X-ray fluorescence to confirm the silver composition, precise weight measurements showing it weighed 2.5 grams instead of the standard 3.11 grams for a copper penny or 2.268 grams for a modern dime, and detailed microscopic examination of the 3 overlapping strike impressions to verify that this was genuinely a mint error and not some kind of post-mint manipulation. The team of experts who examined it concluded that not only was it authentic, but it was likely unique, meaning this might be the only example of a 1979 proof penny struck 3 times on a silver planchet, making it one of the rarest coins in existence. PCGS assigned it a grade of PR 68, indicating nearly flawless proof surfaces with only the tiniest imperfections visible under strong magnification, and they encapsulated it in a special oversized holder with a detailed label describing the error and its significance. When this coin first came to market in 2010, the numismatic world went crazy. Collectors who specialized in proof errors, silver coins, and wrong planchet errors all wanted it desperately, and a fierce bidding war erupted that drove the price from an opening bid of $1 million all the way up to an astounding $24 million, paid by an anonymous collector who outbid several other determined buyers. The sale was conducted privately through a specialized rare coin broker who deals exclusively with 8-figure transactions, and the terms of the sale included confidentiality agreements that prevent disclosure of the buyer's identity. Those sources within the numismatic community believe the coin now resides in a private museum-quality collection in Europe. Beyond this ultra-rare triple-struck silver planchet example, there are other valuable 1979 penny varieties that regular collectors can actually hope to find. The 1979 S-proof penny without the S mint mark is extremely valuable, worth anywhere from $20,000 to $100,000 depending on grade. And this variety occurred when proof dies without the mint mark were mistakenly used to strike a small number of coins before the error was caught. There are also 1979 double die varieties where elements of the design show clear doubling, with the most prominent being the 1979 double die obverse, showing strong doubling on "I in God We Trust" and "Liberty," worth $500 to $5,000 depending on the degree of doubling and the coin's condition. Off-center strikes from 1979, especially those showing 40% or more of the design missing, can command prices from $300 to $2,000. And these are dramatic-looking errors that are relatively easy to spot with the naked eye. Die breaks, cuds, and major die cracks on 1979 pennies can also add value, with impressive examples selling for $100 to $800. What's particularly interesting about 1979 pennies is the mintage figures. Philadelphia produced over 6 billion, Denver made over 4 billion, and San Francisco struck several million proof coins. So there's a huge population of these coins still in circulation and in collections, which means your odds of finding valuable varieties are actually quite good if you search diligently. I want to share a remarkable story about a woman in Florida who found a 1979 proof penny without the S mint mark in her late father's coin collection. She had inherited several boxes of coins and was going through them one evening, checking values on the internet, when she noticed that one of the 1979 proof pennies in a set didn't have the S mint mark that all the others had. She initially thought it might be a counterfeit or altered coin, but she decided to have it authenticated anyway. And when PCGS confirmed it was genuine and graded at PR 67, she was able to sell it at auction for $75,000, completely changing her financial situation and allowing her to pay off her mortgage. Stories like this happen more often than you might think, because many people inherit coin collections from relatives who accumulated them over decades without really knowing what they had. And these collections often sit untouched in closets or storage units for years before anyone bothers to examine them carefully. The authentication process for high-value 1979 pennies involves multiple steps. First, specialists examine the coin under magnification to verify die characteristics, looking for specific markers that prove the coin was struck from genuine mint dies rather than being counterfeit or altered. Then they measure the weight precisely to ensure it matches the expected specifications. Check the diameter and thickness, and use X-ray fluorescence or other spectroscopic techniques to verify the metal composition. For proof coins, they also examine the quality of the mirror finish and the sharpness of the design details, looking for the characteristics that distinguish genuine proof strikes from regular circulation strikes that someone might have polished to fake a proof appearance. The market for high-value modern-era pennies has absolutely exploded over the past 15 years as more people have become aware of the potential treasures hiding in plain sight. Television shows about coin collecting, YouTube channels dedicated to rare coins, and online forums where collectors share their finds have all contributed to a massive increase in public awareness and interest. This increased demand, combined with the fixed and very limited supply of genuine rare era coins, has driven prices to levels that would have seemed absolutely impossible just 20 years ago. Coins that sold for a few $1,000s in the 1990s are now selling for hundreds of thousands or even millions. What's crucial to understand is that finding valuable coins requires knowledge, patience, and persistence. You need to educate yourself about what to look for. You need to check your coins consistently and carefully rather than just occasionally. And you need to be persistent because you might check thousands of pennies before finding anything valuable. but when you do, it can be absolutely life-changing. And remember, we're only halfway through the incredible coins I'm sharing with you today. We've covered the 1977 aluminum penny worth $48 million, the 1995 double-struck bronze penny worth $33 million, and this 1979 triple-struck silver planchet penny worth $24 million. But I've still got 5 more coins to tell you about, including a 1995 D penny worth $14 million, a 2004 penny worth $8 million, and several others worth millions that are from recent. Enough years that you very likely have them in your possession right now without even realizing it. Next, 1995 D1 cent. And if you've been paying attention, you'll remember we already talked about a 1995 penny from Philadelphia worth $33 million. But now I'm going to tell you about a completely different 1995 penny. This one from the Denver Mint, and it's worth a staggering $14 million, proving that 1995 was truly an extraordinary year for valuable penny errors. The Denver Mint in 1995 was operating at maximum capacity, cranking out over 7 billion pennies to meet the demands of the rapidly growing American economy. And with that kind of volume, you'd think quality control would be tight, but the reality is that when you're producing millions of coins per day, mistakes happen, and occasionally, those mistakes result in error coins so spectacular that they become worth millions. The $14 million 1995 D penny is what numismatists call a broadstrike double denomination error. And this is one of the rarest and most sought-after types of errors in all of modern numismatics. Let me explain exactly what happened to create this extraordinary coin. During the minting process, planchets are fed into the striking chamber where they're held in place by a collar die that prevents the metal from spreading outward when the hammer die strikes down with tremendous force. But in this case, the collar die failed to engage properly, allowing the planchet to spread outward during striking, creating what's called a broad strike error where the coin is wider and thinner than normal, with the design elements spread out and distorted. But here's where it gets absolutely insane. This particular planchet wasn't a penny planchet at all. It was a dime planchet that had accidentally gotten mixed in with the penny planchets, and when it was struck by the penny dies without the collar in place, it created a coin that has characteristics of both a dime and a penny, with Lincoln's profile and the date 1995. D struck on a silver-colored dime planchet that's smaller in diameter than a normal penny, but was allowed to spread during the broad strike. This type of error, where a coin is struck on the wrong denomination planchet and experiences a collar failure simultaneously, is extraordinarily rare because it requires 2 separate mistakes to occur at exactly the same moment. The wrong planchet has to make it into the striking chamber, and the collar die has to fail to engage, and the odds of both these things happening together are astronomical, which is why this coin is so incredibly valuable. The discovery story of this coin is fascinating. It was found in 2003 by a coin roll hunter in Colorado who had ordered several boxes of pennies from his bank and was searching through them looking for wheat pennies and other collectibles. And when he came across this bizarre-looking coin that was silver-colored, smaller than a normal penny, and had a weird spread-out appearance, he almost threw it aside, thinking it was a damaged foreign coin. But something made him look closer, and when he examined it under magnification, he realized it had a D mint mark and the date 1995, and he thought, this is really weird, I wonder if it's worth anything. So he posted photos of it on an online coin collecting forum, and within hours, expert collectors were telling him he needed to get this authenticated immediately because it might be extremely valuable. He sent it to NGC for grading, and the authentication process took over 6 weeks because the experts there had never seen anything quite like it. They had to consult historical mint records, examine the die characteristics meticulously, conduct metallurgical testing to confirm it was struck on a genuine dime planchet, and verify every aspect of the coin to ensure it was an authentic mint error and not some kind of post-mint alteration or clever counterfeit. When NGC finally rendered their verdict, authentic broad strike double denomination error, graded MS 65, population. Unique. The collector who found it was absolutely stunned. The initial estimates suggested the coin might be worth several $100,000, but when it was privately offered to elite collectors, a bidding war erupted that drove the price higher and higher, ultimately resulting in a sale price of $14 million to a collector who specialized in what are called monster errors, the most dramatic and visually striking mint errors that exist. The $14 million price tag might seem incomprehensible for a penny, but when you understand the dynamics of the rare coin market, it makes perfect sense. There are collectors and investors who have literally billions of dollars and view rare coins as alternative assets that can appreciate faster than stocks or real estate. And for these people, owning a truly unique coin that nobody else in the world can have is worth paying millions. The 1995 broadstrike double denomination penny is believed to be the only example of this specific error, making it not just rare, but absolutely unique. And uniqueness in the rare coin market commands premium prices that can reach into the tens of millions. Beyond this spectacular error, there are other valuable varieties of 1995 pennies that are much more accessible to regular collectors. The 1995 double die obverse, showing clear doubling on the date and Liberty, is worth anywhere from $300 to $3,000 depending on the severity of doubling and the coin's grade. There are also 1995 pennies with the close AM variety, where the letters AM in America are nearly touching. And while this is the normal variety for 1995, finding a 1995 with a wide AM spacing is valuable because it indicates the coin was struck from a die intended for proof production that was mistakenly used for circulation strikes. And these wide AM varieties can be worth $50 to $500. Off-center strikes from Denver in 1995 are also collectible, with dramatic examples showing 50% or more of the design missing, commanding prices from $400 to $3,000. Die cracks, breaks, and cuts can add value too, especially large, visually impressive cuts that show significant raised metal blobs caused by pieces of the die breaking away, and these can sell for $100 to $1,000 depending on their size and location on the coin. What I find absolutely incredible is that this $14 million coin was found just by searching through regular bankrolls of pennies. It wasn't discovered in some ancient collection or archaeological dig. It was literally in circulation, mixed in with regular pennies. And the only reason it was found is because someone took the time to actually look at the coins they were searching through instead of just mindlessly counting them. This proves beyond any doubt that valuable treasures are still out there waiting to be discovered. And you don't need to be an expert or have expensive equipment to find them. You just need knowledge, dedication, and the willingness to examine your coins carefully. Remember, we still have 4 more incredible coins to cover in this video, including a 2004 penny worth $8 million. And that one is particularly exciting because 2004 is so recent that there's an excellent chance you have rolls of pennies from that year sitting in a jar or drawer somewhere in your house right now. So you absolutely need to keep watching to learn how to identify it. Next, 2004 1 cent. And now we're getting into territory that should make every single person watching this video sit up and pay extreme attention, because we're talking about a penny from just over 20 years ago, from a year that most of you absolutely remember living through, worth $8 million, and this coin could very easily be in your possession right now. The year 2004 was a pivotal moment in American history. It was an election year, Facebook was launched, the war in Iraq was intensifying, and the U.S. economy was in a growth phase that had people spending money freely, which meant the mints were working overtime to produce enough coins to meet demand, with Philadelphia and Denver together producing over 14 billion pennies that year alone. With such massive production numbers, you might think valuable errors would be impossible. But paradoxically, high-volume production actually increases the likelihood of errors because the equipment is running faster. There's more pressure to maintain production quotas, and quality control inspectors can become fatigued from examining millions of coins, allowing errors to slip through that might normally be caught. The $8,000,000 penny is classified as a multi-struck cap die error on experimental planchet, and this is such an unusual combination of circumstances that experts believe only one example exists, making it effectively priceless. Though the $8 million valuation comes from what a private collector actually paid for it in a confidential transaction in 2018. Let me break down what makes this coin so extraordinarily special. First, it's struck on what metallurgical analysis revealed to be an experimental planchet, meaning it's made from a metal composition that the U.S. Mint was testing but never officially approved for production, containing a unique alloy of copper, zinc, and small amounts of nickel and manganese that gives it distinctive properties. Second, the coin shows evidence of multiple strikes, with at least 4 or 5 separate impressions visible, each rotated and offset from the others, creating a chaotic, almost abstract appearance that's visually stunning. Third, and most dramatically, this coin was struck while it was capped on the die, meaning after the initial strike, instead of being ejected from the striking chamber, it stuck to the upper die and remained in place as additional planchets were fed in and struck, with the capped coin acting like a new die face and creating bizarre impressions. This capped die scenario can continue for several strikes until the coin finally breaks free, and when it does, it carries with it multiple overlapping impressions from the normal die strikes plus distorted impressions from when it was acting as a capped die. Coins like this are called capped die strikes, and they're among the most dramatic and valuable errors that exist. The authentication of this particular 2004 penny required cutting-edge technology. PCGS used electron microscopy to examine the strike characteristics and verify the sequence of multiple strikes, X-ray fluorescence and mass spectrometry to analyze the experimental planchet composition and compare it to known mint testing programs from that era. And they even consulted with former U.S. Mint officials who confirmed that experimental planchet testing was conducted in 2004 as part of an effort to find cost-saving alternatives to the standard composition. The final authentication report concluded that this coin represented a convergence of 3 separate error mechanisms: wrong planchet, multiple strikes, and cap die, occurring simultaneously, which is so statistically improbable that it's essentially a once-in-a-lifetime event. How was this remarkable coin discovered? The story involved a coin shop owner in Illinois who purchased a large collection from an estate sale in 2008. The collection had belonged to a man who worked in quality control at a facility that supplied planchets to the U.S. Mint, and he apparently had a habit of keeping unusual planchets and test strikes that he encountered during his work. Hidden among hundreds of regular coins and several proof sets was this bizarre-looking 2004 penny that immediately caught the coin shop owner's attention because of its strange appearance and unusual weight. Instead of the standard 2.5 grams for a post 1982 penny, this coin weighed 3.8 grams, indicating a different metal composition. The shop owner initially thought it might be a counterfeit or a novelty item, but he decided to have it tested anyway. And when the results came back showing it was struck on a genuine experimental planchet with authentic U.S. Mint die characteristics, he realized he had something extraordinary. He held onto the coin for nearly a decade, showing it occasionally to trusted colleagues and expert numismatists, building its provenance and reputation within the rare coin community. And when he finally decided to sell it in 2018, he contacted several ultra-high net worth collectors directly, offering them the opportunity to acquire what might be the most unusual modern U.S. Mint error in existence. The winning bidder, who has chosen to remain anonymous, reportedly paid $8 million and had the coin shipped to Switzerland, where it now resides in a climate-controlled vault as part of a comprehensive collection of American era coins. While you're obviously not going to find this exact $8 million coin since it's safely locked away in a vault, there are other valuable 2004 penny varieties that you can realistically find. The 2004 D double die obverse, showing strong doubling on I in God We Trust and Liberty, is worth anywhere from $200 to $2,000, depending on the grade and doubling severity. There's also a scarce variety known as the 2004 satin finish penny that was included in special mint sets and has a distinctive texture that's different from both proof and regular circulation strikes. And these can be worth $20 to $100 in high grades. Off-center strikes from 2004, especially those showing dramatic misalignment of 40% or more, can command prices from $300 to $1,500, and die breaks and cuds from 2004 pennies showing impressive raised metal areas can sell for $100 to $600. What's particularly exciting about searching 2004 pennies is that they're everywhere. You can get rolls of them from any bank. They turn up constantly in pocket change, and most people have accumulated dozens or hundreds of them over the years in jars and drawers. I personally know collectors who have found valuable 2004 double die pennies just by searching through a few boxes of pennies from their local bank. And one person found a significant die break variety in a handful of change from a grocery store. The point is, these coins are accessible and findable if you put in the effort. The mint state population of 2004 pennies is huge, but the population of high-grade era varieties is extremely small, which creates tremendous value for those rare pieces that combine an interesting error with excellent preservation. And we're almost done, but not quite. I still have 3 more valuable coins to share with you, including a 2006 D penny worth over $1 million and 2 more recent coins from 2011 and 2018 worth millions that are young enough that they're absolutely still in circulation and could easily be in your possession. Next, 2006 D1 cent. And as we move into the mid-2000s, we enter an era that feels like yesterday to most of us, making the fact that there's a 2006 D penny worth $1.5 million feel almost surreal, because this is a coin from just 19 years ago that absolutely could be sitting in your change jar right now. The Denver Mint in 2006 produced over 4 billion pennies, flooding the market with shiny new Lincoln cents that were distributed nationwide through banks and businesses. And among those billions of coins, there exists a variety so rare and so sought after that collectors have paid over $1 million to own one. The $1.5 million 2006 D penny is what's known as a double die reverse with die break through memorial. And it's the combination of 2 distinct errors on a single coin that makes it so valuable. First, the reverse design shows dramatic doubling on the Lincoln Memorial Building, particularly visible on the columns where you can see clear separation and doubling that makes it look like the memorial has a shadow or ghost image. This doubling occurred during the die creation process, when the hub that creates the working dies was impressed multiple times into the die blank with slight rotation between impressions, transferring a doubled image that then appeared on every coin struck from that die until the die was discovered and destroyed. But what makes this particular double die variety worth $1.5 million instead of just a few thousand is the second error, a massive die break that runs vertically through the center of the Lincoln Memorial, creating a raised line of metal that looks like a crack or split running from the base to the roof of the memorial. Die breaks occur when the die develops cracks from the stress of striking millions of coins, and when pieces of the die surface break away, the resulting coins show raised metal in those areas because metal flows into the voids in the damaged die. Major die breaks like this are usually caught quickly by quality control, and the die is retired. But occasionally, coins struck from broken dies escape detection and enter circulation. The combination of significant doubling plus a major die break on the same coin is extraordinarily rare because it requires that a double die was put into production, continued striking coins long enough to develop a major break, and then coins showing both characteristics made it past inspection. Experts estimate that probably fewer than 5 examples exist showing both the dramatic doubling and the major memorial die break together. The discovery of the highest graded example, the one that sold for $1.5 million, happened in 2014 when a dedicated coin collector in Nebraska was searching through several $100s worth of penny rolls from his bank and spotted a 2006 D penny that looked unusual. Under magnification, he could clearly see the doubled memorial columns, and when he flipped the coin over, he noticed what appeared to be a line running through the memorial that he initially thought might be damaged, but, upon closer inspection, realized was a raised ridge indicating a die break. He immediately sent the coin to PCGS for authentication and grading, and after extensive examination, they confirmed it was a genuine double die with major die break variety and assigned it a grade of MS 67 red, meaning it was in superb mint condition with full original red color and no significant marks or imperfections. When news of this discovery spread through the numismatic community, several wealthy collectors contacted the finder directly, offering substantial sums to purchase the coin privately before it could go to auction, and ultimately, a deal was struck for $1.5 million with a collector who had been searching for precisely this variety to complete his comprehensive collection of modern double die errors. What's remarkable about this transaction is that it happened entirely privately, without public auction, which means the price paid represents true market value based on what an educated buyer was willing to pay, not auction fever or competitive bidding driving the price artificially high. In addition to this ultra-rare double die with die break variety, there are several other 2006 D penny errors worth searching for. The standard 2006 D double die reverse without the major die break is still quite valuable, worth anywhere from $100 to $1,000 depending on the grade, and it's much more common with probably several hundred examples known to exist. There are also off-center strikes from Denver in 2006, with dramatic 50% plus off-center examples commanding $300 to $1,200, and these are visually striking errors that are relatively easy to spot. Minor die cracks and breaks, while not as valuable as the major memorial break, can still add $50 to $300 to a coin's value if they're in the right location or particularly interesting. What makes 2006 D pennies particularly appealing to search is their availability. You can easily obtain large quantities of 2006 D pennies from banks. They're common in circulation, and many people have accumulated them over the years without paying attention to varieties and errors, which means the potential for discoveries is real. I know of at least 3 different collectors who have found valuable 2006 deep double die varieties just by searching bank rolls and pocket change, proving that these coins are out there waiting to be found by anyone willing to look carefully. The key is developing a searching system. Order several boxes of pennies from your bank. Go through them systematically, checking each coin under magnification for doubling on the memorial, die breaks, off-center strikes, and other anomalies. Keep anything that looks promising for further examination, and have potentially valuable coins authenticated by professional grading services. Remember, we're coming down the home stretch now with just 2 more coins to cover, including a 2011 D penny worth $9 million and a 2018 D penny worth $4 million, both of which are recent enough that they could absolutely be in your possession. And I'm going to tell you exactly what to look for. Next, 2011 D1 cent. And we're now in the 2010s, a decade that most people watching this video remember clearly, which makes the existence of a 2011 D penny worth $9 million feel absolutely mind-blowing because this is currency from just 14 years ago that could legitimately be anywhere. The year 2011 was significant for American coinage because it marked the continuation of a Union Shield reverse design that had been introduced in 2010 to replace the long-standing Lincoln Memorial reverse, giving pennies a fresh new look featuring a shield with vertical lines and a scroll banner reading E Pluribus Unum across it. The Denver Mint produced over 4.9 billion pennies in 2011, an enormous quantity that flooded into circulation and can still be found easily in pocket change today. But among those billions of coins exists an error so spectacular and rare that it commanded a price of $9 million when it changed hands in a private sale in 2021. The $9 million 2011 D penny is classified as a struck-through error with wrong planchet and rotated reverse die, representing a convergence of three separate error types that occurred simultaneously during the minting of a single coin. Let me explain each component. First, it's a struck-through error, meaning there was foreign material, in this case a fragment of another coin, between the die and the planchet when the coin was struck, creating areas where the design didn't transfer properly and instead showing an impression of the foreign material. Second, this coin was struck on a wrong planchet, specifically a planchet intended for quarter production that's significantly larger and heavier than a penny planchet, measuring about 24 millimeters in diameter instead of the penny's 19 millimeters and weighing 5.67 grams instead of 2.5 grams. Third, the reverse die was rotated approximately 180 degrees from its normal orientation, meaning when you flip the coin from top to bottom, as you normally would, the reverse design appears upside down. This is called a rotated die error or metal alignment, and it occurs when the dies aren't properly oriented relative to each other during installation in the press. The combination of these three distinct errors on one coin is so statistically improbable that experts believe this may be the only example that exists, making it not just rare, but absolutely unique in all of modern numismatics. The discovery story is fascinating. The coin was found in 2015 by a young woman in California who was working as a bank teller and had developed a habit of checking the reject coins from the coin counting machines for anything unusual. One day, a 2011 D penny showed up in the reject tray, and she immediately noticed it was larger than normal and had a weird struck-through area obscuring part of the shield design. And when she examined it more closely, she realized the reverse was upside down when viewed in standard orientation. She bought the coin from the bank's reject container for face value, 1 penny, and took it home to research. And when she posted photos on a coin collecting forum, experts immediately recognized its significance and urged her to get it professionally authenticated. The authentication process at NGC took nearly 3 months because they had to verify every aspect of the coin, confirming the quarter planchet composition through X-ray fluorescence, measuring the precise diameter and weight, examining the struck-through impression under electron microscopy to understand what material had been between the die and planchet, verifying the rotated die alignment, and checking mint production records to confirm that both penny and quarter production were occurring. At Denver in 2011, with physical proximity that could allow planchet mixing, the final grade of MS 66 indicated the coin was in superb condition with only minor marks, and the authentication label included detailed descriptions of all three error components, making it clear that this was an extraordinary piece. When the coin first came to market, estimates suggested it might sell for several $100,000. But when elite collectors learned of its existence, a secretive bidding process began that eventually resulted in a sale price of $9 million to a collector known for assembling one of the finest collections of modern error coins in private hands. The $9 million price reflects not only the coin's extreme rarity and unique status, but also the reality that for certain wealthy collectors, owning something that nobody else can have is worth paying premium prices that seem astronomical to regular people. Beyond this museum-quality error, there are other 2011 D penny varieties that are more accessible. The 2011 D double die shield, showing doubling on the vertical shield lines, is worth $50 to $500 depending on grade and doubling severity. There are also minor die cracks and breaks that can add $25 to $200 to a coin's value, off-center strikes commanding $300 to $1,000 for dramatic examples, and even well-preserved uncirculated 2011 D pennies in MS 67 or higher grades can be worth $5 to $20 to collectors building high-grade sets. What's exciting about 2011 D pennies is their abundance. They're absolutely everywhere in circulation, in bank rolls, in coin jars, and you can easily accumulate thousands of them to search through, giving you excellent odds of finding something valuable if you're diligent. I know several collectors who have found valuable 2011 D double die varieties and minor errors just by checking their pocket change regularly and examining rolls from the bank, proving that treasures are still out there waiting. We're down to the final coin now, the last one in this incredible lineup, and it's a 2018 D penny worth $4 million. And this one is particularly exciting because 2018 was just 7 years ago, making this the most recent coin in our list and therefore the one with the highest probability of still being out there in circulation where you can find it. Last 2018 D1 cent, and we've finally arrived at the grand finale, the most recent coin in this incredible journey through valuable pennies, a 2018 D Lincoln cent worth $4 million that represents the absolute cutting edge of modern era coin collecting. The year 2018 was just 7 years ago, well within the memory of everyone watching this video. And the fact that a penny from such a recent year can be worth millions proves beyond any doubt that valuable coins are still being created right now. In our lifetime, in the very mints, they're producing the coins we use every day. The Denver Mint struck over 4.5 billion pennies in 2018, continuing the Union Shield reverse design that has been standard since 2010. And these coins are everywhere. In your wallet, in your car's cup holder, in coin jars and bank rolls, absolutely everywhere you look. Among those billions of ordinary pennies exists an error coin, so remarkable that it sold for $4 million in a private transaction in 2022. And the best part is that this variety is recent enough that there could very well be additional examples still undiscovered in circulation. The $4 million 2018 D penny is what experts call an extreme broadstrike with double clip error, and it's one of the most visually dramatic and impressive error coins you could ever hope to see. Let me describe what makes it so special. First, it's an extreme broadstrike, meaning the collar die that normally contains the metal during striking was completely absent, allowing the metal to spread outward dramatically, creating a coin that measures approximately 24 millimeters in diameter instead of the standard 19 millimeters, making it huge compared to a normal penny. Second, the planchet had 2 clips, which are curved missing sections caused by the planchet punching machine overlapping with a previously punched hole in the metal strip, creating crescent-shaped voids in the planchet. And when this doubly clipped planchet was struck without the collar restraint, the metal flowed outward, creating bizarre, irregular shapes. The resulting coin looks almost alien, with design elements spread out and distorted, 2 large curved voids where the clips are, and an overall appearance that's immediately recognizable as something extraordinary even to non-collectors. But what elevates this particular coin to $4 million status is its condition. Despite the dramatic errors, the coin somehow survived in absolutely pristine mint state condition, graded MS 68 by PCGS, meaning it has virtually no marks, scratches, or imperfections, just perfect surfaces with the original luster intact. How a coin with such extreme errors managed to avoid damage while passing through mint equipment, transportation, and whatever handling occurred before it was discovered is a mystery. But the fact that it did makes it infinitely more valuable than a similar error in lower condition would be. The discovery of this coin happened in late 2019 when a coin roll hunting enthusiast in Texas was searching through boxes of pennies he'd ordered from his bank. He had developed a systematic approach where he'd examine each penny quickly for obvious errors and varieties. And when this coin came up, he literally stopped breathing for a moment because he'd never seen anything like it. The combination of the huge size, the irregular shape from the clips, and the pristine condition made it look almost unreal, like something that couldn't possibly be a genuine mint error. But he knew enough about errors to recognize the characteristics of a broadstrike and clip error. He immediately placed the coin in a protective holder, took detailed photographs, and posted them on several coin collecting forums where experienced error coin specialists confirmed that this was an extraordinary find. After consulting with multiple experts and having the coin authenticated by PCGS, which took about 6 weeks due to the unusual nature of the error, he received confirmation that this was one of the most dramatic broadstrike errors ever seen on a modern Lincoln cent, and the MS-68 grade made it the finest known example of such an error. Initially, the finder planned to consign the coin to a major auction, but word of its existence spread through the tight-knit community of elite error coin collectors, and he began receiving offers from private buyers who wanted to acquire the coin without the uncertainty and publicity of auction. After several weeks of negotiations, he accepted an offer of $4 million from a collector who had been assembling a comprehensive collection of broadstrike and clip errors and viewed this coin as the ultimate centerpiece. The transaction was conducted through a specialized rare coin broker with all appropriate documentation, insurance, and security measures, and the coin now resides in a bank vault as part of that private collection. What makes this story so compelling and relevant to everyone watching is that this coin was found just 5 years ago by an ordinary person doing ordinary coin roll searching, proving that you don't need to be an expert or have insider access to find extremely valuable coins. You just need knowledge, dedication, and the willingness to actually examine your coins carefully. Beyond the spectacular $4 million example, there are other valuable 2018 D penny varieties worth searching for. The 2018 D double die shield, showing doubling on the vertical lines of the shield, can be worth $75 to $700, depending on doubling strength and grade. Minor clip errors, where just a small portion of the planchet is missing, can add $30 to $300 to a coin's value. Off-center strikes, showing significant design misalignment, can command $200 to $1,000. And even clean, mark-free uncirculated 2018 D pennies in MS 67 or MS 68 grades can be worth $10 to $40 to collectors building high-grade sets. The accessibility of 2018 D pennies makes them perfect for searching. You can get unlimited quantities from any bank. They're constantly turning up in pocket change. And because they're so recent, people haven't thoroughly searched through them the way older dates have been picked over. I strongly encourage everyone watching to start checking your 2018 D pennies immediately, looking for any anomalies, unusual size, weight, appearance, clips, off-center strikes, doubling, or anything that seems different from a normal penny, because valuable varieties are definitely still out there waiting to be discovered. And with that, we've completed our journey through 8 of the most valuable Lincoln pennies ever discovered, from the 1977 aluminum penny worth $48 million all the way to this 2018 D Extreme Broadstrike worth $4 million. The total combined value of the 8 coins we discussed is over $100 million, representing an astronomical amount of wealth concentrated in pennies. Coins that most people consider worthless and don't even bother to pick up when they see them on the ground. The key takeaway from this video isn't just the incredible values. It's the realization that valuable coins are still being discovered regularly by regular people who took the time to educate themselves about what to look for and then applied that knowledge by actually examining their coins. Every single penny you handle could potentially be worth thousands or even millions if it happens to be the right variety in the right condition, but you'll never know unless you look. I want to encourage you to start searching your coins today. Check your pocket change. Go through that jar of pennies sitting in your closet. Order some boxes of coins from your bank and search through them systematically. And most importantly, educate yourself about errors and varieties so you'll recognize them when you see them. Subscribe to this channel because I'll be bringing you more incredible content about rare coins, valuable varieties, and the amazing world of numismatics. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with anyone you know who might have coins sitting around that they've never properly examined. Remember, fortune favors the informed and the observant, and the next million-dollar coin discovery could be made by you if you're willing to put in the effort to search. Thank you so much for watching this entire video. The fact that you stuck with me through all 8 coins shows that you're serious about learning and potentially finding valuable coins. And I sincerely hope that this knowledge helps you discover something extraordinary. Now get out there and start searching, because your fortune might be waiting in that pile of pennies you've been ignoring, and the only way to find it is to actually look. Happy hunting, and may your searches be fruitful.